most coaches are listening to the front office when it comes to what they do. It's like, I can't play the same style as Golden State if I don't have Golden State personnel. So I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to do the same thing that Golden State does. I'm not going to run the same plays that Golden State does. Because everybody runs the same plays. But Golden State was different when they came in. They started doing something different. They were doing like European teams.
Mm-hmm.
Penetrate pitch, open threes, high pick and rolls, get into the paint. If you don't have a layup, find somebody else. Then they'll penetrate off of the closeout to them. So that's how Greece beat the United States in the Olympics in 2004.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just playing that type of basketball. I went and played with a team in Greece that year. Most of the guys that beat the U.S. was my teammates the next year. So I learned their style of play and what plays they called. Just, that's where Golden State is playing like European teams. So you have to have the personnel to do it. You have to have people who are skilled, who can dribble, pass, and shoot.
Thank you.
And that are unselfish.
Thank you.
So if you don't have that personnel, then if you have a big that can score on the block, you got, like Philly has Embiid, you got to go to Embiid, and Embiid's got to be a beast now. Don't force a guy like DeMarcus Cousins to come out and ISO somebody. Throw it to him on the block and tell him to eat. When you have the personnel, you got to change what you do system-wise to help your team win. And then another thing that we keep overstepping here is there's rule changes.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, the game was a little bit more physical when we played. And then they were wondering why the games were in the 80s and 90s. It's because guys were physical. And they were able to physically push you in the direction where they wanted you to go. Now, they're not allowing that. You hit somebody nowadays, they're going to call a foul. Or you push somebody in a direction nowadays when they're trying to run the other way, they're going to call a foul on you saying you're not allowing them to run.
Which
we weren't
is
allowed
insane.
to run back in the day. If a guy like me or Rip Hamilton or Reggie Miller run through the middle, we were getting hit by dudes like Mason and Oakley and Ewing and the Davis boys. We were getting hit every time we ran through the middle. They're not allowing that anymore. You can't just forearm shiver anybody running through the middle anymore. So now the game is open and free flowing. They figured that this is entertaining for the fans, but at the same time, the fan is not stupid. They're not playing defense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the rules are not allowing them to play defense. They're calling touch fouls where guys, but that's why, you get into comparing errors, which it's impossible to compare players from different eras and say who was the best because the rules were different.
Exactly.
You can't say, it's better than MJ. They're playing under two different rules.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say Steph is better than Isaiah. They're playing in two different rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it was a tougher time to play back then. The game was much more physical. I mean, you're trying to tell me that Kevin McHale clotheslines Kurt Rambis and he doesn't get kicked out of the game?
Exactly.
The bench clear and brawl, and he doesn't get kicked out of the game. All right, check it up. Play ball.
How many times do we see Jerry Seasteen get into fights?
Nowadays, yeah, exactly. Nowadays, you're going. You get in each other's face. You say something wrong, you hit the locker room. So it's two different set of rules to be comparing players. Are they great players in their eras? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to cross over eras when it comes to comparing guys because they're playing under different rules. Now, do I think there are some guys in this era that can play in my era or the era before? Of course, because their skill level and LeBron is a beast. No matter what people say about this dude, he's a hybrid. He's a hybrid of three players. He's a hybrid of a Michael Jordan, a Magic Johnson, and a Karl Malone. He's got a Karl Malone body, Magic Johnson playmaking point guard skills, and Michael Jordan scoring ability. And he can defend like he's older now. He doesn't defend like now. But when he was younger, he was defending. So you have a dude that's just a different beast. He could have played in our league and done well because his body can take it.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have been at a power forward, handling the ball like it. You trying to tell me you couldn't take guys like Barkley out on the perimeter or guys? He's a perimeter 265-pound dude. He's different. He's different than everybody. So he could have played in our era.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant is 7 feet and handles the ball. He reminds me of George Gervin.
Mm.
So you trying to say George Gervin couldn't play? George Gervin's one of the league's best players. Kevin Durant can score like George Gervin.
Mm.
He's got the same body type. But he's 7'1", 17, 7'1". So there are some guys that could have, their skill ability could have transferred over to the golden era of playing. They're that good. And then there are some that, I wonder how he would have done it, the physicality. Like, I wonder, and I love Steph. Steph is my little dude. I've been knowing him. I was Dale's teammate. I've been knowing Steph since he was like 8, 9 years old. Steph, the whole family. But with the physicality of that and the way his body is built, how effective would he have been if it was a very much controlled environment where you just couldn't come down and cast a 35-foot? So how would he have fared in our era? That's a good question, because he wouldn't have had the freedom to do what he does now. Freedom means everything when you're a player. If you have the freedom to do stuff, any 450 players in the NBA, if they had that type of freedom, they could be an all-star, because they're that good. Everybody's that good, but everybody can't be the top guy. Everybody can't be the top 2 guys. That's who the NBA and the marketing people in every organization, who can we market and sell the game of basketball to these corporate sponsors so we can keep getting money? That's what people don't understand. Everybody's great in the league. People laugh at the people at the end of the bench and say they suck. Those guys can play.
Exactly.
I've been in practice when they were killing starters. I've been in training camps when dudes that got cut were killing us. And I'm like, damn, I'm glad I have a guaranteed contract and this motherfucker can play. Excuse my language.
Oh, no, it's all good. Hey, no problem. Not a problem.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like there's a level of politics and business that people don't understand when it comes to the professional game. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody that's in there can play. And all they need is a shot to be at a level higher than what they are at. And they will show you that you can play at that level.
You know what? I was going to ask you about your career, but this is exactly where I wanted to go. What stops those guys from being in the league?
What stops which guys? The guys that get cut in training camp?
Yeah, like, how is it that this guy was...
Well, it could be a numbers game. Like, for example, my last year, I was in the Knicks training camp in 2004. They had 15 guaranteed contracts.
Oh.
My job was to knock a contract, to make them swallow some money to sign me.
Mm.
So that may be the case. The agents are sending them in a training camp where they have no shot of making the team unless they snatch a contract. So that can, it's called the numbers game. That can be a problem. Or they're being sent in a situation where there are guys in their position that may be for guaranteed contracts, and that's all they can carry.
Mm.
And it's like, all right, what do we do with this guy? Because we already have 2 guys in the 2 spot that's guaranteed, and 2 guys in the 3 spot that's guaranteed, and this guy is a small forward that can play the 2. Do we keep this guy, or do we decide to keep a big, or do we need another point guard? And so they maybe become a victim of the numbers game that way.
Mm.
It's just going to the right team, the right situation.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get their feet into the door, and then once you get into the door, now you have to do what the coach wants you to do. Are you going to fight that? If he wants you to be the best practice player, you got to be the best practice player. Like, for example, early in my career, I struggled with sitting on the bench, but that was my role. No one told me that was my role or that was going to be my role. All I kept hearing was, you're a good addition to our team. You're going to help us. You can shoot. We're going to need you. But when was the part that was going to be told to me that, okay, we just came from the finals against the Bulls. This was the Portland team I was on. This is the core 10, 11 guys that we trust. And you're not going to play unless one of these guys get hurt. If somebody was real and honest with me about that then, I can accept it. I can accept it, and I'm not playing mind games with myself saying I'm kicking ass in practice, and why am I not playing? See, that's where the coaches, good coaches are great communicators. Great communicators can have everybody on the team together and buying into their roles. The only thing people want to know is, what is my role? Define my role to me, and I'll do it to the best of my ability. If I'm going to wave a towel, I'm getting paid $1 million to wave a towel. I'll wave a towel. You know, my job is to be the best practice player, which my job ended up being the championship year of Houston. I had to be the best. Dennis Scott, Nick Anderson, whoever, Dan Marley, whoever we played against in the playoffs, Sean Elliott. If I had to be that guy on the scout team, I was going to be better than that guy, so the games would be easier for my teammates.
Awesome.
You know, if you, whatever the role is. It's like my last year with Portland. My role wasn't to play. My role was to mentor guys like Quintel Woods and Travis Outlaw and Zach Randolph. Be a vet in the locker room and help these young dudes. That was my job as a 11, 12-year player at the time. It wasn't to play anymore. The game was moving on without me. Now, you got to get back to the game. So that's what my job was at the end. And when somebody tell me this, I can accept it. But when you have to try to figure it out on your own, that's the problem. And that's where a lot of people grow frustrated. That's where a lot of people fall off the wagon and say, forget it, I don't care anymore. I'm going to go out, I'm going to party, I'm going to hang with the team and have a good time to mask what I'm really feeling.
Wow.
Now, if everybody knew what their role was, the coach sat down and said, this is it, this is what you're going to do until something happens, I think 95% of the league can handle that. You know, because we were all stars in college. We all were the best guy in our team. So now we're all coming into a situation where we have to accept a role. Some are going to come right in like Shaquille and be a star. But the rest of us are going to have to find a role and be comfortable in it. And the sooner that we accept our role, is the longer we can last. But if we fight it, have an attitude, get into it with the coach, mope around. Like, I was 20 years old. I was a young kid in the league. So I was in there pouting like a baby. And that follows you throughout the rest of your career. Well, what are we going to do because he's not good enough to play in the rotation? Is he going to be a cancer? Is he going to fight like a baby at the end of the bench?
Wow.
We don't need that. We need a professional. So at the end, when I'm done at 12 years, I could have pushed that to 18 years if I didn't have the stigma at the beginning of my career, because I didn't. If I knew my role, I would have been able to accept it better, and then I wouldn't have had this label as a powder. Now I can make my career last to 18 years instead of 12 at the end. See, if we know early, you can see the big picture, then you can buy into what's going on, and you can really make a career. But these kids are not told that. They're not told this. So when you figure it out by yourself, you can play games with yourself, and you can be hurting yourself at the same time.
Kind of like what Earl Thomas did yesterday with flipping the bird to the team, and that's going to follow him around. Well, okay.